Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Looking all smiles, looking good. Happy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:05. Time to get the show on the road. Hello, my name is Stan Benton. I'm the president of Penn Branch Association, in case you didn't know. And tonight we have, I'm moving right on. Tonight we have Faith Broderick from, I'm trying to get this right, Office of Planning. And she, thank you. Yeah, I knew I was going to get that. Yeah. And she's going to talk about, let's see, many things, I suppose, but one of which is the small area plan. I'm putting her on first. There's a different agenda today. I'm putting her on first because she has a prior engagement later in the evening. So Faith, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Dan, and good evening, everyone. It's nice to see virtual faces. Like Stan said, I'm Faith Broderick. I'm a community planner with the DC Office of Planning. Some of you may know the Office of Planning, some of you may not. We are a land use agency in the District of Columbia. We do a lot of the different types of like land use planning that you see. We lead the comprehensive plan, which is one of the district's larger sort of guiding documents for how we do planning work. And this year we're taking on a small area plan along Pennsylvania Avenue. So I have actually a brief presentation. I guess I can go ahead and share my screen and we can talk all about it. Oh, I think.
Yeah, I believe Natia, can you give Faith the hosting duties? Give her.
Sorry, and I can also send it to you if it's easier.
No, I can do it. 1 second.
Okay.
But then she's going to have to, now I'm thinking about this, she's going to have to let people in also while she's presenting. What would be easier?
What, you want to send it to me then?
Okay. Do that. Sorry about that.
Should have asked earlier. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I even thought about sending it to you, and I was like, he doesn't need extra stuff in his email.
Yeah, thank you for that, because that is a challenge for me, to tell you the truth, keeping it straight.
All right. Sorry, folks.
No problem. While we're talking, I'm gonna say hello to Jacqueline, the previous Penn Branch president. How you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing well. How is everyone? How are you, Stan?
Doing well, thank you. I like the hat.
Ah, go Ravens! Yay!
All right.
Oh boy. So I'm not actually on my work computer because I'm managing a second meeting. So this is I'm just gonna talk through the presentation, and then Stan, at the end, I can email it to you, and then you can go ahead and share it with the rest of the community. Does that sound okay?
Oh, that's good. But I'm sure you want to show do you want to show it? Would you rather show it? Because
you're gonna see me bouncing a lot of computers. All right.
No worries.
Everybody can mute their devices when they're not talking.
Hey, Faith, don't let me stress you out. So whatever's easier for you.
No, it's all good. So I just sent it to you. So Stan, it should be in your inbox.
Oh no. Hang on. I am looking
I'm
at.
Stan.
Yes.
So just real quick, is that Terrence from O Street that's on the call?
I have something else in front of me right now.
Yeah, it's Terrence.
Hi, Terrence. So there's a person behind the name.
Yeah, he's been around. Yeah.
We missed you for years.
Oh, what do you mean?
We reached out and tried to did drive-bys and everything. Couldn't ever catch you live. So it's nice to know that the person behind the name.
All right, Natia, you can make me let me drive. This is actually, hey Natia.
Yes, I heard you. 1 second. I'm
All right, thank you.
doing it.
And the next step is going to be me actually sharing my screen. This will be a first for me.
I was gonna say, luckily our agency, we're so good at doing in-person engagement, and it's just taken us a full year to get ready to just do virtual engagement. And by the time this is all done, I'll be vaccinated and be able to see each other once again. So it's been a
Right.
long learning curve, at least for me. So thanks for bearing with me.
Bear with me.
1 second, I'm still letting people in. That's the hold up. Actually, Stan, how do I send it back to you? I'm sorry.
I think the 3 dots on the top right of my name or my box, my picture. Click on that, then make host.
Got it. Thank you.
Everybody's learning here. That's the one thing I did know.
Okay.
Oh, so I'm a host now. Okay, and now I'm trying to share my screen.
I hope this presentation's riveting. I mean, really.
Okay, if somebody wants to help a guy out here.
Usually at the bottom at your screen, there's like a green button that says share screen.
It's the biggest day. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, oh no. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking we should have splurged for the higher package, so I have a couple of different hosts. Oh, come on. Hang on, people. We're gonna give this one more try.
We saw your screen a moment ago, Stan.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I don't know where it went. I'm gonna try it once more. Boom. Yeah. Are you looking at my screen now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we can see it.
So you can see the hot mess I'm in right now, right?
No, it looks good. I think this may just be in like your email preview, but we can work with it.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, perfect. That works.
I can't see anything on this end, but okay, cool. I'm glad you can see something.
All right. When I say scroll, then we'll just keep it moving.
Gotcha. Cool.
Well, hi, everyone. Thanks again for having me tonight. For those who have just joined, I'm Faith Broderick. I'm a community planner with the DC Office of Planning. The Office of Planning, and Stan, we could, I guess, go ahead and scroll. Perfect. The Office of Planning, we are a land use agency in the District of Columbia. We do a lot of land use planning and community engagement work with communities around the district. We plan for our neighborhoods through all of the community engagement work that we do. And our whole point of doing planning is to make sure that the long-term planning that we do is vibrant and inclusive and sort of speaks to what we all want to see and what we all want to feel in DC and in our communities. And so one of the big plans that our agency does and is sort of led by is the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is a 20-year planning framework, which is, again, one of those really long-ranging plans. And it speaks to a lot of different land use components. So it speaks to transportation, it speaks to land use itself. So how residential are certain communities, how much retail activity is there, what is the commercial activity, what is the industrial activity. So we speak to that. There's an economic development component, an urban design component, historic preservation. And then we have sort of a series of elements that speak to almost the wards, right? So they're called planning elements. And those are sort of high level planning documents for wards 1, wards 2 or 3, 4, 7 and 8. But what the comprehensive plan doesn't do is it doesn't get into like the fine grained details that we all care about when we're in our specific neighborhoods, in our communities, or in our corridors. And so this planning effort, and Stan, if you want to go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Thank you, perfect, is a small area plan. And so what the small area plans do is they they augment and they supplement the comprehensive plan. So while the comprehensive plan is that like high level guide that orients the district and sort of puts us on a path for how we can either grow or how we can absorb growth and how we can manage all the residents that we currently have. Small area plans get into the fine grained details, the block by block level, the specific community and community needs, cultural needs, and components along, in this case, Pennsylvania Avenue, the corridor itself. Small area plans are also really important as like visioning documents. So they, through all of the community engagement that we'll be doing, we're in the very early phases, but through all of this community engagement and all the chatting with you all, we'll be able to develop a vision for Pennsylvania Avenue that will be able to guide future development and future land use and sort of set priorities for the Office of Planning, but then other district agencies as well. And through this process of listening and learning and sort of refining, we're also able to identify any gaps, challenges, or opportunities that we see along the corridor. So gaps may be service level gaps, they may be gaps in infrastructure, and opportunities may be other ways of thinking about how we revitalize a corridor, how we activate a park. So there's different components of how we can think about the corridor and how we can think about making long-term changes that fit that vision that we're all going to collectively work on. Small area plans, they also guide budget decisions and agency investments. So there's Office of Planning that's guided by this small area plan, but then there's all of our sister agencies that are working on this plan with us that will then too be guided by this planning effort. So as we do that identifying of gaps and challenges and opportunities, we'll also be creating recommendations throughout this planning process. And those recommendations, those are sort of the guiding framework that the Office of Planning and other agencies can use to help dictate our work over the next 10 plus years. And lastly, they're approved by council. So that's sort of where that teeth comes in, where my Office of Planning and our other agencies, we have the small area plan is something that we listen to because it's guided by council or approved by council. But then also that's how we're able to sort of operationalize our dollars to work on those recommendations that we all collectively come to agree on. So Stan, if you want to scroll to the next slide.
I'm sorry, Stan, if I may interject, it may be helpful to give a little background for those who may not be familiar with how we got to the small area plan. And is, to be clear, is the small area plan for east of the river. So you may want to just give a bit of context so everybody understands the significance of this plan and this opportunity that we have to engage with faith in the Office of Planning.
Yeah, and Jacqueline, I know that you were also part of the effort to get the small area plan happening this year. So I'll speak a little bit about the small area plan on this slide and about the 2008 small area plan. And if you want to also weigh in, I'm open to have that. So like Jacqueline sort of teased, this is not the first small area plan that was done for the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. In 2008, there was a small area plan that was done that stretched further west of the corridor. During that period of time, there were, again, a lot of recommendations that came to the fore in terms of land use development, economic development, and different opportunities that sort of changed some of the makeup of the corridor. And those recommendations stretched across, again, west of the river through east of the river. But not all of the recommendations were acted upon. And specifically the recommendations that were slated for east of the river were not all of those recommendations made it to the implementation stage, right? And the implementation stage is where we're able to see sort of the rubber hit the road. And so Jacqueline and others were able to work to get council to give the Office of Planning dollars that we're able to do another small area planning effort, this time just east of the river. So we're able to focus all of our energy and efforts here. And again, think through what is our collective vision? What are the recommendations that we want to see actually actualized and implemented along this corridor? So small area plans are an opportunity to collectively voice our concerns and but also our desires and aspirations for the corridor. And it's a way that we can, create a historical record of what this community wants and is advocating for, but then B, be able to work with all of the different implementation agencies, whether they're district government agencies, whether they are individual civic associations or the Main Street, other sort of groups, to start implementing, again, those recommendations that we all come to agree on. And so part of this planning process is to look back at that 2008 plan and to understand what worked and what didn't work, and make sure that what didn't work, we correct. But it's also an opportunity for us to hear new voices and hear fresh voices, and reaffirm the vision that we have for this corridor, and reaffirm the recommendations and the implementation that we want to see happen. So that's where we are with this, a new opportunity to do a small area plan. We're not going to just redo that old 2008 plan. While that is an incredible guide, and it does have a lot of really excellent resources that all of you have worked on and had worked on at the time, it's really an opportunity for us to do something new and give you all, as a broader community, what you deserve as a planning document. And so you see in front of you the picture of the boundary for this small area plan. What this means is that we're really focusing our recommendations along the corridor. But we recognize that the corridor is not just, it's a community for a lot of different people, right? A community can mean where you work, where you live, where you go to school, where you have friends and family. But it's not necessarily, it looks like there might be some challenges with folks viewing the slides. If there's any challenges, I know that Stan's working hard. We can also send this presentation out afterwards, and all my contact information is in it as well. So we could chat again if there's any questions, but also you can view this at your own viewing pleasure and leisure when you have a chance. But the community really is, it's not just bounded in that rectangle, it's anyone who utilizes the corridor. And so the engagement effort that we'll be doing and the voices that we'll be listening to are not just if you live in the rectangle or not, it's really anyone who uses Pennsylvania Avenue, cherishes Pennsylvania Avenue, and wants to see it flourish. So that's the how we got here, and the planning work we're going to be doing. Jacqueline, I want to give you space though. Is there anything that you wanted to add to flesh out what I talked about with the 2008 plan and where we are now?
Yes, I just wanted to add that it was a collective effort of many of the leaders from the local associations, the local community, that was involved in the process of getting Councilmember Gray to allocate the funding, $250,000 last year for FY21 in the budget to conduct this effort. And quite a few of those members are on the call tonight. Vivica Miller, Kyle Murphy, and a few of our other Pennsylvania Avenue East Community Coalition members. And I want to also highlight that a historical record of not only the 2008 small area plan, but other historical documents about different task forces and teams that have worked on prior plans are available for the community to read at your leisure, also at the pennaveeast.com website, pennav, PENNAVE east.com website. And we are really excited and just delighted to be, have an opportunity to work with you, Faith, as a community and as a association, as an organization. So we're looking forward to engaging with you.
Yeah, no, and I thank you so very much. And I actually, Stan, I think it may be the next couple slides. They sort of like, Jacqueline, you teed me up in terms of, do you mind keep going? Then we'll come back to this one because I just want to talk to. So what Jacqueline just, perfect, thanks, Dan. So what Jacqueline just mentioned is there's a lot of different folks that are at this proverbial virtual planning table that will make this plan come to fruition. You have myself and the rest of the OP team. They're not behind me, but they are with me on this virtual screen. And part of the work that we do is going back through all of those old historical planning documents and pulling out the recommendations that have been that have been daylighted in those other plans, pulling out all of the different community conversations that you all have had over the past 10 plus years, but then also doing a lot of the current day data analysis. So understanding exactly what the demographic makeup is along the corridor, understanding what are the potentials for future development, for future opportunities that we all want to see along the corridor. We then have an interagency working group. So this interagency working group, this is, it's not just OP, there's DDOT, there's DMPED, there's District, the Department of Transportation, W's Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, Department of Small and Local Business Development, a whole host of different agencies that have a lot of different acronyms that are the implementation agencies. So while OP is the planning agency, we don't always get to be the implementers. So we don't always get to be the ones who then take those recommendations and get them on the ground. So what this interagency working group is meant to do is meant to help us think about what we can do to actually get you all to be able to see the work happen on the ground. So that's the interagency working group. The Community Advisory Committee is made up of a lot of wonderful leaders and stakeholders along the corridor. Jacqueline, Stan, Kyle, Vivica, some of the names you just heard, they're part of that Community Advisory Committee. And what the Community Advisory Committee's role is really to be the eyes and ears of the community. It is to help myself and the interagency working group understand the community's needs, because there's a lot of different voices, but they're able to really represent you and what you want and what you want to see. And they're also able to be a check on the recommendations that we all start to work on. So because there is such entrenched knowledge and understanding of the community, the Community Advisory Committee is really able to advocate for those recommendations. And in addition, they're able to help get the word out, right? So by Stan inviting me here tonight, hopefully there are more people on this call learning about this planning effort that can then get involved. And then in the big green circle, who is in the driver's seat, that's the community, right? And so at the end of the day, this is a visioning document and a planning document that is guided by your desires and your vision for the corridor. And the plan is how many folks are engaged and how many voices we get at the table and how we're able to sort of make this plan happen together. And so the more you are involved, the more I'm able to hear from you, the more you're able to weigh in, the bigger and better and stronger this planning effort can be. So Stan, if you can do me a favor and scroll back up a slide.
You got it.
Thank you. You are an excellent navigator. Perfect. So part of this planning effort is to also think about what we're able to do and what we all want to be able to accomplish, right? And so with Jacqueline's work and the other leaders on this call, their work, part of our first task was to really understand what should the goals of this planning effort be. And so we've sort of simplified it to 4, but that doesn't mean that it's just that these are just the only things we're looking at. These are sort of like the big headers or like the big picture ideas. So the first big picture idea we have for the corridor is thinking about how to encourage economic development and retail opportunities. We have a wonderful new Main Street leader who is able to be sort of that charge in this planning goal, but there's a lot that we can do, OP can do, and you all can help do in terms of thinking about recommendations that speak to economic development and retail opportunities. We understand that, it's important that you all, and you've all daylighted that it's improving transportation access and connectivity along the corridor, but then to other communities is incredibly important, whether that means pedestrian safety, improved traffic flow, improved bus headways, that all sorts of fit under that goal. Enhancing a safe, accessible, and vibrant public realm. So again, that could think about pedestrian safety, but it could also think about how, Pennsylvania Avenue is a gateway, and how do we identify and celebrate Pennsylvania Avenue, and what are the cultural and historic landmarks that should be celebrated, and how can we maybe increase art or increase creativity along the corridor, or highlight those things rather, because they already exist on the corridor. And then that last big bucket is exploring housing opportunities and social and economic resiliency strategies. So how can we be thinking about ways to continue to uplift and support folks who already live along the corridor and in adjacent communities, and be a more resilient community, and be able to stay in place and encourage equitable development as it comes to the corridor. So those are the planning goals. And so Stan, now I'm going to ask you to go down 2 slides.
Got it.
Thank you. Perfect. So this is where you all come in, right? So we have these like big picture planning goals, but now we need to figure out what they all mean and what they all say, and what is the vision and the recommendations behind it. So there's a whole series of ways to get in touch. But really one of the big ways is to reach out to me directly and to take, we have a series of survey questions online right now, and start to weigh in on the planning process. So there will be a series of touch points throughout this planning process where there will be new opportunities to provide input on a survey. There will be new opportunities to join a town hall or a visioning session. There will be plenty of opportunities to reach out to me and tell me directly what you want to see and what your vision is for the corridor. So if we scroll down one more slide, I think. All right, this is good. So here are the touch points that we have. So we right now are still in sort of the very early phases of this planning process. We're in the project rollout, where we're getting the word out about the plan, where we're doing a lot of the convening of community stakeholders, where we're doing all of the research before we go out to the community in April, and really start doing the listening and the learning, and the recommendation refinement with you all. So starting in April, there will be the first community town hall, which you'll hear sort of a similar spiel about what the planning effort is. But it'll be the first time really that collectively, the larger community for Pennsylvania Avenue will have a chance to start vocalizing what your vision is for the corridor, letting me know, letting the OP team know what it is you want to see, and what are your objectives, and what a successful scenario plan would mean to you. Throughout that plan development phase, so that April through October phase, there will be a handful of other town hall events where we'll have more opportunities to collectively vision together, but then also be thinking through the recommendations. So again, what we want to see actually happen. And there will also be other smaller functions, because town halls are sometimes intimidating. We can't all talk, we can't all communicate, but smaller functions where we're able to have more of a one-on-one dialogue, where I'm able to really listen and learn from you all. And then sort of the nitty gritty and like a little bit more of the boring piece is a legislative process. This is where it goes off to council, and council will be able to approve the small area plan. And then to me, the exciting piece, and I think to you all, the exciting piece is the implementation. So taking all those ideas that we've been collectively working on, and then being able to take that planning document to our interagency working partners, and all the other implementation agencies, so that we're able to start acting on those recommendations. And so if we want to scroll down one more slide, and I think that's it. Here are all the different ways that we can start this conversation, where we're able to learn from you, and we're able to start to highlight your vision and highlight what you want for the corridor. So the project website right here, that publicinput.com/Penn Ave Southeast plan, that is sort of a one-stop shop for engagement. So once you go to that website, you'll be able to sign up for project updates. I send a monthly newsletter where I share all different types of updates that we have for the plan. You're able to sign up and listen to our town halls, but equally and importantly, you're able to provide feedback through the surveys that are online now. And then all the other contact information is how to get in touch with me. So the project email, the project phone number, and then my direct Office of Planning email. All different ways that you can get in touch, and we can talk about your vision and what you want to see for the corridor, and learn more about this planning effort, and I can learn from you. Questions in the chat. So I will try to get to them, but if there's any questions as I start going through the chat, I think now's a good enough time to ask them. So. Oh, good question. So one of the, Jalen, you had asked a question about how is this different than or in collaboration with the Pennsylvania Avenue, Minnesota intersection improvement project. Great question. So part of that interagency working group that I mentioned, the District Department of Transportation is on that interagency working group. So in collaboration with them, that plan is sort of set, right? They have, they're at 100% design, and they're They've gotten funding to be able to go into the implementation phase. What we can help do though is support them in that implementation phase. So any and all additional community input that they need, we'll be able to help gather and share that information. Equally, if there's opportunities that we all see in terms of urban design enhancements or other sort of public realm enhancements that can be a catalyst after that that intersection improvement plan, that's something that we can do through the small area planning work and work with DDOT to continue doing their improvements along the corridor. So all these different sort of plans that are happening or coming online for Pennsylvania Avenue, we're trying to collaborate as best we can so that you all don't get planning fatigue, but equally we have a collective vision that all of us district agencies are able to work towards. So I hope that answers your question. But we're trying to do everything in parallel as best we can. And it looks like Tracy has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Faith, for this opportunity. Just wanted to know from 2008, and I know you said all of our plans, can you identify the plans that came to fruition, but also what barriers will you see that you've experienced that would prevent something from happening after we give our wishes? We give our wish, what would make them say no? Or how should we, I know you're going to teach us how to best bring our wishes to the table. You know, how is it best to formulate the question? Should we bring percentages or, you know?
No, that's a great question. So the plans themselves all were approved by council. So the plans in their entirety, they came to fruition, but rather the individual recommendations within those plans, not all of them were implemented. So there were, in the 2008 plan, there were recommendations that were brought to the table about how to better connect from west of the river to east of the river, right? How do we make that connection around Sousa Bridge more vibrant, safer, more accessible? So a recommendation like that, in theory, like that is something that we want to continue to hear and continue to work on, but the components of that were not necessarily implemented in its whole. And so part of our work that we've done over the past couple of months is try to understand why that didn't happen. So why, when the Office of Planning and you all worked on a series of recommendations, they weren't acted upon. Sometimes it was just, the agencies that were the implementation agencies were in the wrong place, sort of in their workflow to get the work done. And so what we've been trying to do is align our work better across all district agencies. Another issue that we've seen is sort of the budget cycle. So sometimes with our small area planning work, we're sort of at the wrong side of the budget cycle. And so part of OP's work is to get ahead of the budgetary cycle so that other agencies can start advocating for those recommendations sooner. So different agencies have, and this is like, there's a lot of different, it's very bureaucratic and a little tedious, but at the end of the day, what you all can do is through your active participation, we can strengthen the planning request and the planning document itself. And so really my job and OP's job is to work with our agency partners to make sure all those like little bureaucratic hiccups don't continue to happen. And so you don't need to come to the table with data and statistics because that's my job. But what I want you to do is vocalize exactly your concerns for the corridor, right? So if they happen to be that there is a lack of connectivity across Sousa Bridge and that you want it to feel safer as a pedestrian, or you want to have better amenities or easier access to the water, that's something I want to hear from you. And the more we keep hearing that, the stronger we can make the case for why that is a recommendation that we need to see implemented. And then it's on me and it's incumbent upon Office of Planning to be able to take that big recommendation that we all come to the table with and present it to our interagency partners who will do the implementation work to say exactly why that request is necessary. So that's sort of the give and take with what we need to hear from you all, and then the bureaucratic work that the Office of Planning needs to do.
Thank you. And they would prioritize, I guess, our needs.
we're gonna, again, that's on, that is the big task. And so that is something that we've been working on in our office to think about how we can better position our small area planning work so that our agency partners are able to look to it as a planning document.
Faith, I have a question to your statement about some of the barriers and how we can, stay ahead of the budget cycle specifically. What, in your estimation, can we be doing now as we look, at the FY22 budget cycle and even beyond to FY23 as a community? Is there something that we need to be doing now to tee things up for a budget ask in terms of dollars for what we know might be needed beyond the $250,000 that's already been allocated? Can you speak to that for a moment?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So right now there's not a big ask of you, but there will be, right? So the role of the Community Advisory Committee will be to help sort of continue to push those asks along. So the community at whole, it is not your job to make the budgetary requests. It is your job to help enhance the planning document so that we, the Office of Planning, and we, the Community Advisory Committee, can do the advocacy work. And so throughout our Community Advisory Committee meetings, which are happening on a pretty regular monthly basis, we'll be able to think through exactly what types of asks we need, how we're able to work with our interagency partners, and how we're able to work with council. So on the Community Advisory Committee group, we have representation from council. And then on the interagency working group side, we have a lot of agencies that are teeing up their budgetary requests. And because they are part of this planning effort, I've asked and they know that any sort of work that they have coming down the corridor is a priority for them and for their agency. So it sort of rests on both the Community Advisory Committee and the Interagency Working Group, but the community at large, you all don't need to spend your time and resources thinking about that. That falls again on us.
Okay.
Does that help, Jacqueline?
Yes, it does. Thank you. I'm
Yep.
I'm sorry I missed the initial community advisory meeting, so I'll have to go back and catch up on that.
That sounds good.
that
And
presentation.
for everyone on the call, the Community Advisory Committee meetings, we've met for the first time, and we've met with our interagency working group partners. And every Community Advisory Committee meeting will be recorded and notes will be shared online. So that project email or website rather, that was on the last slide, the public input Penn Ave Southeast plan, I think. If you go to that website, there's a tab Community Partners, and on it you'll see a document that documents what we all spoke about at the Community Advisory Committee. And if you're really interested, there is a recording of the meeting. So every CAC meeting will follow that. And so if you really want to see what we're doing, you're able to follow along.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
There are a couple more questions in the chat.
Oh yeah, okay. Are there private sector partners involved? Yes, so great question. There are private sector partners involved. On the CAC, we have the development team, J.R. Lynch. They are part of the Community Advisory Committee, but equally the Office of Planning, we're working really hard to get other nonprofit partners involved who could really be helpful with the implementation side. So those partners have yet to be identified, but we have a growing list, and part of our job over the next couple of months is to be able to continue pulling in additional partners who are either doing work along the corridor or doing work in the city at whole. And then there's another question about how does OP pivot with changes due to COVID-19, such as Metro budget? Yeah, that's a great question. So we are in a tighter budget than usual. And so part of what we're trying to think about is how we can start in an immediate response, how we're able to start pivoting and doing more pilots that are able to get you all in a position where we're then able to scale up. So we're trying to be cognizant of our budget by thinking about how to start small, but then be able to grow. And so your point about the Metro budget is a good one. And it's our job to be thinking about, okay, if Metro's budget is is reduced, then how do we work with DDOT to provide the same or a similar type of service to you all? So is that bus rapid transit or some sort of bus rapid improvements to be seen along the corridor? Are those other sort of smaller pilot projects that DDOT is able to provide that help get, you know, the last mile connectivity? So there's a lot of different ways that we're able to think about how to work around a tighter budget, but continue to make sure that you all are getting what you need, not just in the next couple of years, but in the long-term future. So there's a lot of different examples that I can go into, but of course, like resiliency and recovery and safety is our first priority. And so making sure that the community is safe and stable is where we're starting. And then from there, growing up. Does that help?
And I'd like to make just one quick comment to everyone, just to say that this is an exciting time to be part of the Penn branch and community and the Pennsylvania Avenue East Corridor. I'm just over the moon excited about the opportunity that we all have to make our voices heard and to provide input into this planning cycle. I think this is probably one of the best opportunities we'll ever have to all collectively have influence on the vision of our community and what it'll look like, you know, for our children and grandchildren, you know, in the future. So I would just strongly encourage everybody to connect with Faith, join, you know, whatever community activity that's going on in regards to the Office of Planning and the plan for east of the river. So if we don't ask for it, we won't get. So whatever you can blue sky for the community, please put it out there, and you know, it'll get prioritized or, you know, told we can't do it. But at any rate, whatever you can imagine for the community, now is the time to put it on the table.
Great. Hey, thank you, Jacqueline, for that. And Faith, I know you're pushed or you're running out of time, I know. So would you?
Yeah, no, I'll stick around for a little bit longer if that's okay. Or because I see there's at least 2 more questions. So I'll try to get to these 2. Due to us being right here by the Maryland line, how will this impact traffic in the neighborhood? That's a great question. So part of OP's role sort of in district government is working with our regional partners. We work with MWCOG, and I'm totally blanking on that acronym right now. Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, which essentially is all the different government partners in the district, in Maryland, and in Virginia. And through that work, we do a lot of, we connect a lot on transportation, we connect a lot on housing opportunities and affordability. And so part of our larger work and role will be either mitigating any sort of adverse effects that we see in terms of traffic flow in and along the corridor. But equally, what we're trying to do too with this planning effort is work with transportation experts. So not just DDOT, but transportation consultants to help us think about traffic congestion, traffic challenges that we face, and what sort of what we can do to overcome those barriers. So it is one of the many sorts of inputs or things that we're thinking about in terms of transit as we think about the corridor. So Ornaldo, I hope that answers your question. And then Roma, I see your hand is raised, so go ahead.
Yeah, very quickly. I'm thinking more along the lines, because I was asking about the private sector involvement. I'm thinking more along the lines of incentivizing the private sector to get involved. It just seems to me, and I've been involved in a number of these projects in the past, but if government is doing everything, I think government is good for creating infrastructure and incentivizing the private sector to come in and do stuff, just as an overall strategy, not, you know, just getting government to do everything. I'm not sure that that's has gotten us. And I know we have issues with private sector investment in this area of the city. And so I want to see government, you know, help to solve some of that.
Yeah, no, fair question, and also fair critique of government in the past. And so you're right. So part of what that could look like are the recommendations that we put on the table, right? So what exactly are we trying to incentivize? Are we trying to incentivize grocery stores? Are we trying to incentivize smaller mom and pop shops along the corridor? So trying to really articulate exactly what we want to see and how then we can use our government resources to think about how we can bring in and attract those types of either retailers, industry providers, and different sectors. So that's all part of what we'll be doing collectively, right? And so sometimes it, like you said, it's not necessarily on government to do it all, but we can also be the catalyst for making that type of change. And so part of this work is to understand what you all need, so then we can think about how we move the dollars in the right direction. Does that help clarify? Okay, that's great. And so, like Stan had mentioned, I have another meeting in the background. So if I've been a little distracted, I'm very sorry. But I am here. I am your resource. I am your planning partner. I want to learn from you all. I want to listen to you all. And I am very excited to co-develop and co-create a plan with you all that really speaks to what you all want and deserve and need, and be able to advocate on behalf of government. So please get in touch with me. Please participate online. I know that we are virtual and I know this is challenging. I'm going to try to be a face in the community as often as possible. You'll probably see me later this week because the weather is beautiful. But equally, I'm going to try to do as many different types of engagement events as we can safely, while also being able to collect a lot of information online. So this is hopefully just the first time you see me and the first time you hear from me. But I want to hear from you more. So please join me online at the website, and Stan, if you will, disperse that presentation, because that has all the ways that folks can get in touch with me. And I look forward to at least seeing you, hopefully on April 14th at our first town hall, but if not before then. So get in touch. I'm here, and I'm excited to do this planning work with you. So, and Stan, thank you for the time. Thank you all for the time. I feel like I just chatted your ears off and I took up a lot of your evening, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Faith. Appreciate it. Very, very interesting.
Okay. All right. Thanks all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
All right. Well, hey, next up we have Officer Maribel, who's picture just switched somewhere else on my screen here. Officer Maribel, are you set to roll?
Yes.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Penn Branch community.
Hello, good evening, Officer Maribel.
Good, Miss Jacqueline, how you doing? Hello, everyone.
Doing well,
Let
thank
me
you.
throw a little tip about Officer Maribel. Officer Maribel's hours are from 11 to 7. So when he gives these briefings here at our meetings, he's actually off the clock. So I do appreciate Officer Maribel, you taking the time to do this for us.
No problem. Anything to support. Okay. In the near future, I will be forwarding you all a Zoom meeting that the chief is doing. Chief Conti is doing it actually tonight. We got the email late, but he's doing a meeting that I want you all to be a part of. So I will forward that information. He said he's going to have several meetings where he's doing questions and answer periods. So that should be very interesting for you all. Okay, so I'll make sure you get that as soon as I get it.
Hey,
okay,
thank you.
So the last 30 days in patrol service area 605, we had 15 crimes reported. A year ago, we had the same time frame, we had 30 crimes. We had one of the crimes we had listed for the Penn Branch community. Penn Branch community had, out of those 15 crimes, we had 2 crimes in Penn Branch community. We had a robbery on February the 27th at 7 p.m. at the CVS store at Penn Branch Shopping Center, where a young man went into the store and gave the cashier a green bag and told her, "Don't do nothing stupid," and give him the money. So she gave him the entire cash drawer, which contained about $332. And also
Terrible.
we had a theft, and that location was 3705 N Street, N as in Nancy Street, southeast from the front porch. It was a U.S. Postal Service package with a Ring doorbell camera in it that was stolen from the front porch. That was on February 27th also. So those were basically the two crimes in the Penn Branch community. However, we did in the entire 605 patrol service area, we did have, let's see, we had the 3 assault with dangerous weapons. We had 2 robberies. We had 1 burglary. We had 2 theft from autos, two thefts, and 4 motor vehicle thefts, and 0 arsons. Most of the crime that was that I looked at and reviewed on the map is on the lower end of Pennsylvania Avenue and Minnesota Avenue corridor. So, and in the Fairlawn community, that's where we're seeing most of the crime in Patrol Service Area 605. We're still down on our manpower due to the ongoing threats at the U.S. Capitol. We have 2 civil disturbance platoons activated, which is about 28 officers each platoon. They're talking, the police department is talking about downscaling the platoon down to 1 platoon activated, but that's going to be predicated upon the threat level. And right now, due to the George Floyd, that officer that's on trial for the George Floyd's killing, the crime, we're still on alert because of that. We got to look at the outcome of this trial. The trial might last 2 weeks, and hopefully the right thing happens in this trial with a conviction, because if it doesn't, we can rest assured we're going to see an uproar from different communities in reference to it. So we are prepared for that if that takes place. But even though we are still short personnel in the patrol section, what the chief has authorized overtime, so we are backfilling the shortages with officers that are off duty for overtime. So that's all I have. Any questions so far?
There's a question in the chat asking about the young lady that passed away at Penn and Branch, the one who was shot while driving.
Yes, that is still ongoing. I've talked to homicide about that. That is still ongoing. That was in reference to we believe it was a road rage incident in which that young lady was the passenger in the vehicle. Her boyfriend was driving the vehicle. It was a truck. We know it was a black SUV that was involved with the shooting. And all her boyfriend did was blow the horn at the guy because he was talking to another motorist blocking traffic. As soon as he had blew the horn at the guy, he went around the guy. When he went around the black SUV and proceeded westbound on Pennsylvania Avenue, at that time, for witness stated that the driver started pumping his brakes in front of the SUV, which may have made him mad. And right after that, shortly thereafter, that's when the SUV had drove up beside the victim's vehicle and fired several shots into the car. So right now, it's still an ongoing homicide investigation. Okay.
Thank you for that.
I have a question. I don't know if you see my
Sure.
hand. This is Tracy. And it was just regarding last month's meeting when you mentioned the body found, human remains found in Fort DuPont. And I
Yes.
did some pieces on the news, but what else can you tell us?
Yes, that the remains, we did have a positive identification on the gentleman. he had went missing. He actually lived in that community around right off of 37th Street in Eli Place. The remains was found up near on the side of Fort DuPont, which was F Street, Minnesota and F Street on that side. And like I said, his case it came about in the news I believe it was last June or last July. I believe it was last July. And he was his family had reported him missing. And unfortunately, he was found deceased. So he was identified by his dental records on that case. So that is an ongoing investigation also.
Shalon has a question in the chat. She says, do you have any information about Ward 7 getting a dedicated and compensated violence interrupter to perform evidence-based crime reduction? She says she's not sure if you're.
I don't know. I don't have that information.
All right.
Roma, is that an old hand or do you have a question?
It's old.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any more questions for the officer?
Yeah, I have one. And I'm not even sure if this is the correct format for it, but pretty much I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom of Branch after you cross over Pennsylvania. There's one sign right there when you come over Pennsylvania, when you're crossing over Branch Avenue on Pennsylvania Avenue. I mean, when you're crossing over Pennsylvania Avenue on Branch Avenue, right there where I think it's the Wells Fargo, the bank, and it's the 25 miles per hour. At that point, there are no more signs from there all the way down to Fort DuPont Park, and cars are just speeding up and down. Is that something that I can handle with MPD, or is that a whole nother entity that I need to get involved with that?
You can go online to www.d.dc.gov. In the menu bar, type traffic assessment and an application for assessment, and you could directly request the installation of speed signs on both sides. You want them on both sides, because to me, as the traffic analyzer for your community, they need to be on both sides so you can see it from the left or right as you're going down. Okay. And they will respond in 45 days. That's www.ddot.dc.gov. Menu bar, traffic assessment application.
Thank you.
Okay. Last chance, last call.
There's one additional question from Joan McKenzie. Do you have an update on the person who was shot on Highwood Drive in November?
No, I don't actually. No, but I can get that for you. Just give me an email tomorrow. I can look it up for you and give you more information. My email is my name. It's Mark, M-A-R-K, .Marable. That's spelled M-A-R-A-B-L-E, B as in boy, L-E, at dc.gov. Anyone have any questions about any past crimes or anything, just give me an email and I can look it up in the system and give you feedback on it.
I'm sorry, Officer Stan and Natalia, can I just ask one other question about what happened? Was it today or yesterday at the Citco when a white car drove up and 3 guys got out and they said Pennsylvania Avenue and Southeast and carjacked 2 people, stole the items in the car and the car. It was on the news, but it was really troubling. I don't know what best to do in a situation like that. Try to ride off or?
Yes, I don't have any other information that was other than that you have. But we do have a major problem with carjackings in the entire city and actually in the region. We get a lot of updates from PG County and Virginia. We get a lot of alerts of vehicles to be on the lookout for. We've only made, I believe it was 8 juvenile arrests for the entire year so far this year. And I know of about 18 I think the last count was 18 carjackings since January 1st. So the chief is strategizing something in reference to combating that. But right now, one reason why the arrest is so low, with the traffic cameras in the area, we are able to know when that carjacked vehicle is in our patrol areas. But we're not allowed to pursue that vehicle due to public safety. The reward is not worth the risk of public safety, because we know it's going to more than likely institute a car chase, which is going to be at very high speeds. So therefore, that's why most of the arrests are very low in that category, because we're not allowed to pursue those vehicles.
Thank you.
Are you, as a follow-up question, if I may, are you recovering the vehicles and not making arrests? Are you recovering the vehicles later, or are the vehicles largely just disappearing?
No, we have a very high rate of recovery. Most of the vehicles are being recovered. We do notice that if those vehicles, if it's just a carjacking and they're just using it as transportation, there's a over 90%, we will recover that vehicle, or the neighboring jurisdictions will recover that vehicle. But if the vehicle has been used in another crime, such as a shooting, that's when we find the vehicles usually burned.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any more questions? Cool.
I don't see any.
All right, thank you. Hey, thank you, Officer Maribel. Appreciate you.
Okay,
Sir.
Mr. Stan, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Penn Branch.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Hey, next, Natia, would you mind reading the February minutes?
Sure. So I'm going to read a summary of the February 9th, 2021 meeting minutes. Officer Maribel shared the crime statistics for the area for the last 30 days for this area. The total crimes were 45. We're down. It was 49 last year. 0 homicides in this area, 4 assaults with dangerous weapon, 13 robberies, 1 burglary, 14 thefts from autos, 5 thefts, 8 motor vehicle thefts. In Penn Branch, 3 thefts from autos, 3 stolen autos, 3 shoplifting, 1 attempted robbery and / snatch at CVS. There were a number of questions related to human remains found in 4 DuPont Park. Our treasury balance is $2,455.06. Stan and Mo agreed to provide a breakdown of expenses at the next meeting. PBCA had an informative panel on parks, recreation, and the environment with representatives from Anacostia Riverkeeper, DCDPR, DCDOEE, and National Capital Parks East. Details and their contact information for each is listed in the full minutes posted to the website. Stan Benton shared the board is doing a lot of work and highlighted the work of Paul Grant, the PBCA Communications Director, and the website upgrade. A member reminded the board to share meeting agenda via email and asked about the video from last month's meeting, which has since been posted to the website.
Thank you, Natia. Now, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move, well, I can make it, but should someone else make it?
Sure.
I move that we accept the minutes as read.
Cool. And is there a second?
Second.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. All right. Hey, next up, we have the Community Cookbook Project. We're all locked up in our houses. So the board, officer with the board here, we're trying to come up with an idea just to get the community involved with one another, get to know each other a little bit better. And one idea is the community cookbook that Maria Fritz brought up. And she left me with a video to show you all describing the project. Now I'm gonna once again try to share this screen. Hold on for me 1 second, or bear with me. All right. Here we go.
Hey everyone, I'm sorry I can't be at the meeting tonight, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about our Penn branch recipe project. We talked about how children aren't getting to know their elders in our neighborhood, and with the pandemic, we have new families who we may not get to meet. So this is a zero-cost way to connect and to learn a little bit more about one another. So how do you submit a recipe? Paul has a link on the project on the Penn Branch Community Association website. Click on the link and it will take you to the form to enter your recipe. But we're not just interested in the recipe alone. We'd like to hear more about when you cook the dish. Is it a family recipe? Is it something new you started making during the pandemic? Or maybe it's a recipe that's super quick for a weeknight meal. It doesn't have to be nostalgic if that's not you. The recipes can be as simple or as fancy as you'd like, but tell us a story to go with it. And if there are children in your household, have them create a drawing or something else creative related to food, community, family. Take a photo of the artwork. There's a section in the form where you can upload the image. The art does not have to be elaborate and all ages are welcome. This is a drawing we've had on our fridge for a few years. A friend's daughter made it after we peeled corn together here. I'm not sure if you can see it. So it's just a way to get the children involved. That's just done on, actually paper used for school. So, use sidewalk chalk, take a photo of something on the sidewalk, construction paper, it doesn't matter. So if you have friends or neighbors who would like to submit a recipe but cannot do it online, they can call me and I'll take down all the information manually. Stan has my number, so if you connect with him, he can pass it along to you. Once we have the recipes, we'll collect them into a document and post on the website. You can include, I think, up to 3 recipes. So if you have any questions, you can email me at secretary@pennbranchdc.org. Let me know if you have any questions about the project. So get your recipes in. Thanks, and I'll see you hopefully next month.
All right, any questions on that one? Okay. All right, so hey, next we're having we have committee reports, and first up is Treasury, so that's going to be me again. Bear with me. Hang on, folks. I was trying to come up with, excuse me. I was trying to tally up the, hang on, come on. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I was trying to tally up our finances. And I thought that really the best way to do it is actually just show you, just straight up show you our statement, our bank statement of January 31st. Let's see, we had a beginning balance on January 1st of 28.4830, ending balance of on the end of January of 28.8304. And here's our breakdown. We had a PayPal transfer of $134.74. That was membership dues. That was 3 family memberships and 1 single membership. And we paid out $100 for our gift baskets. Miss Hall, a resident on, I believe, 38th Street, she makes up the gift baskets for us and for a very reasonable price. And they look nice. So that's like $100 for roughly 6 or 7 gift baskets for our new neighbors. All right, so that gives the ending balance of January 31st of 28.8314. Okay, now I'm gonna skip over to this month. Yeah. Here we go, back to January 1st of, excuse me, February 1st, we had a balance of 28.8304, ending balance of 24.7406. And here's what we paid out. We paid out $119 for our Zoom account that we're speaking with you now, that we're using right now, excuse me. And the the $275, that's for our IRS tax status. We're still like going through the motions trying to get that reestablished, our nonprofit status. And we paid $34.82 for some paper and card stock. The paper's for the newsletters, and the card stock is for the gift baskets. The label on the gift baskets. And we got one new membership. That's the $20. So the $20, there it is. So for end of February, we have a balance of $24.74.06. All right, cool. Yeah, it's not really too pretty, but I thought it was kind of cool to do it that way, because just to actually show you the account, yeah, just show you exactly what it is. Okay. Next up. Hey, I'm looking at our schedule here. Hey, we're kind of closing up here. I don't have anything else for you. Do we have any questions out there?
Just wanted to say hello to Mr. Chandler and Janarda. I haven't seen them in a long time.
Yeah,
Hi.
thank you for that. Hey, Mr. Chandler.
Gotta unmute you. Say hi.
Hi, Stan. How you doing?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. Thank you for joining us. And hello, Janard.
Hello.
Hi, Janarda.
Hi, Jacqueline, and everyone else.
Good to see you all.
Yes.
Nice
to join you.
Nice seeing everybody.
Yeah, same. So hopefully, to get this COVID thing under control, we'll be in each other's presence for real sometime. Hopefully soon.
Question: how would one go about paying membership dues?
Just head on over to pennbranchdc.org. That's the easiest way, actually. Or you can get in contact with your block captain, and you can pay for it through them. Good, yeah. And Paul put down there in the chat the link to it. Thank you, Paul. And also, Paul, I'm gonna say also he also updated our website again, which I think looks rather nice. Appreciate that, Paul. And lastly, before I let you all go, in this month's newsletter, I brought up the idea of bringing back the dinner dance. So I'm wondering, I thought it was a great idea, but I didn't think to ask you all if you thought it'd be a great idea, or a halfway decent idea, or it's just something we should actually do. I get a thumbs up, thumbs down, yay, nay. Thank you. I see you, Jacqueline. All right, Miss Richards.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, yes.
Post-COVID, I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
It's an excellent socialization of all neighbors, regardless of age range. And I really enjoyed seeing the young people who would act as hostesses, and the seniors who would get out there and out dance the young people. It was a beautiful annual event.
Yeah, I was sharing the story earlier, but I definitely got out danced by one of our seniors at the last dance. It wasn't pretty on my side. It wasn't pretty at all. Kind of embarrassing, actually, but it is what it is. All right, cool. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay, folks. Any other business? Anybody have any questions, concerns before we hang up?
I don't.
Just
Great meeting.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that I will note for the group that we hope that everyone will come back next month for the second part of our series focused on economic development. We will have Faith Broderick back from the Office of Planning to answer additional questions. We're also hoping to have a representative from Jerry Lynch Development Partners to talk about the shopping center. And we're looking to try to get a representative from CVS as well, and maybe from the Main Street organization. So we will continue the conversation and look forward to seeing everybody back next month. I think there might have been some additional comments though, so don't everybody leave yet.
I think that's excellent. So we know real time what's going on in our corridor, especially at Penn Branch. And I enjoyed Gerald Lynch. I believe he was in the January meeting. when he provided a update and said that by March he'd have additional data. I just wanted to alert all community members, these bikes, no, I'm not against people biking or walking, but I'm sick of them leaving the bikes on our sidewalks. There's one that's been sitting since December 2020 in the 3700 block of Carpenter. There's two down at the dead end of 34th Street sitting against the stop sign. All of us have to be a part of resolving that by calling 311 and asking for their removal. That's the only thing I wanted to encourage us all to be cognizant and encourage our neighbors that use the bike. They should actually, if they have come to their destination and not going to use the bike again, to call that company and that company would come and pick them up. And I don't believe they really have an active GPS the way they lie and say they do, because this one been sitting, it's orange. You can see it, Cal, from your house. It's been sitting there since December 2020. The second issue that's cluttering up our neighborhood from an aesthetic standpoint is a number of pods. And I've looked up the pod locations, meaning the address where the pods are, and their permits have expired. And again, one of them, Cal, you can see directly across the street from you on Texas. People should not be able to put that huge pod in for beyond the permit. I mean, everybody is doing construction renovation and that's what they tend to use them for, but we shouldn't allow them to have them there. That pod there on Texas been there for a year.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Paul. Actually, I didn't realize that pods needed a permit, but.
Yes, they have to have a permit to occupy the roadway.
All right, great. Thank you for that. Thank you, Ms. Paul. Appreciate it. And yeah, back to that dance. Yeah, that is a long-term goal we're shooting for back in the we're shooting for like 2022, and hopefully not beyond.
Ms. Evans has her hand raised. I'm not sure if that's an old or new hand.
No, oh, hello. No, it's a new hand. Thank you. I just wanted to thank, I did get my newsletter, so thank you so much, whoever handles this block area. But I did want to ask again, just to repeat, if somehow the executive board could figure out a way to post the meeting announcement on, via the email listserv. I know 1 month it was posted on Nextdoor. Not everyone has access to the website. I mean, these kinds of things help to encourage people to attend. So I don't know if that's possible for someone on the executive team to post the meeting announcement and log in information in various places other than just the website. I just wanted to revisit that.
It's possible. Yeah, thank you, Juan. I appreciate that. And we'll hope to get it right next month.
Oh, it's all right, no problem. And then the agenda, I don't know if that's helpful to post as well in advance. I mean, that might also attract people if they have an idea of what the agenda will be.
All right, thank you, Juan. I appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you guys for posting the links, and I think you guys we are doing a better job at getting the meeting links out, and so I really appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Roma Battle, the president. What year were you president, Roma?
That was probably in I get 2000. It's probably 96, 97, 98, something like that.
Wow, cool. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it. And
sure.
And he was there for 4 years.
4 years.
Thank you.
You tell me he went for 1 term, but all right, 4 years. That's great. And I'm gonna throw a shout out to Paul. That's Paul. He our communications guru there. He's the one that gets the links out for us online for the meetings.
Thank you, guys. Excellent. Very good.
All right. All right, people. We'll do something unusual, unless anybody else has a question, comment, or anything else they want to share. I want to call this meeting to an end. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
No,
Yeah, do I hear a second? What is that, Rose? What is that?
Second.
no.
What is that? All right. I don't know what Roma's laughing at, but thank you.
No, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. So I came in late, so sorry.
Was that my butchering of the Robert's rules? But
No.
okay. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that, and hope to see you. Hey, great turnout here. We had like 40 people come out here. So thank you all for coming out, and we'll hope to see you next month.
All righty.
Excellent board. Excellent board. Well done. Well done.
Well
Thank you,
done.
Block. We got some Block Captains online. Thank you, Block Captains, for getting for that newsletter out and everything else that you do.
Good night, everyone.
My pleasure.
Good night.
Good night. Hey, Mel, you on here? All right, see you later, Mel. Appreciate it. Yeah, I work with my dance moves out there for 2022. Ciao.